The following is intended only for mature audiences. Viewer discretion advised.
Alright, thanks to the fat ski mask guy for that stellar percussion intro.
Hey, thanks. Yeah, I hope people like it.
Hello and welcome to the Fat Ugly Toad Show. I'm your host, the Fat Ugly Toad. And today, my show and tell is my Revo K101 Plus. Basically, it's an emulator, but what was interesting about it was that it also played Game Boy Advance cartridges. I don't know if Revo is still around, but I couldn't find them. Just old remnants of discarded cyberspace. This was the very last thing they made, I think. Basically, it's a very nice Game Boy Advance. Revo created this housing. We've all seen it since.
Power button.
I think the reason why is because Revo used a factory that immediately turned to re-releasing their design with an inferior product for half the price. That might have killed Revo.
Audio video out.
Or maybe they made their money and got out of the game. Whatever.
Headphones.
They made a nice Game Boy Advance, and I hope it lasts.
Volume wheel.
It says on the back that it's a GBA hardware clone. Differences exist if that's true at all. It won't play Game Boy Color or original Game Boy games, for one thing, the cartridges. The Game Boy Micro won't either, I suppose. In addition to playing Game Boy Advance cartridges, it also comes with a software cartridge loaded with emulators. The software cartridge only works on the Revo K101 Plus. It has a micro SD card slot that you can load up with folders full of ROMs. With this cartridge, you can play Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, and original Game Boy games. They all work great. It allegedly plays other types too, but the other emulators yield mixed results. Revo disappeared before delivering the firmware updates they promised. NES probably works fine. I have so many Famiclones I haven't bothered, but I will likely eventually load it up with Nintendo games as well. Information on Game Gear, Genesis, Super Nintendo, and a few others used to be available, but since not every game from those systems allegedly worked, or worked well, I never personally bothered. I rename my ROM files and I try to stay organized. It allows for game images in the menu, but I think it's extra effort that is completely unnecessary and wastes space. So I never bother. It adds the little purple Game Boy Advance symbol on its own, and that's kind of fun. This list goes on and on. I don't have every ROM available, but do have a ridiculous amount of entertainment on here. Game Boy Color. You get the idea. Game Boy Original. It's nice to have options, but when faced with this many decisions, I tend to keep looking around instead of actually playing a game. I do the same thing with streaming television. I guess I should just pick something. Felix the Cat. These are the default Game Boy settings. By pressing both shoulder buttons at once, you can head inside the computer. In the computer, you can change things to your liking. Right now, I'm changing the background border and the color palette. It saves your changes, but if you've never played the ROM before, it starts out with the default settings. It only takes a second, and different games can have different looks. Kind of nice. I'll show some games outputting to my video capture device later. You can play Game Boy games full screen if you want to, but I don't want to. My thumb slipped. I've got a cell phone camera in my way. B button is punch. Felix the Cat is a great platformer. It's also a great cartoon. I like what people are doing with the public domain footage, especially the psychedelic stuff. Center button and left shoulder button takes you into the computer. The center button by itself adjusts the screen brightness. Let's look at Game Boy Advance. In case you're wondering, the X and Y buttons by default are extra left and right shoulder buttons when you play Game Boy Advance games. Great for RPGs, item menus, etc. If you want, you can remap all the buttons. Just look at all these games. I don't know about you, but I have way too many video games. It's really nice that Nintendo decided to no longer sell these games and to give them to the public for free. Thanks, Nintendo. You're my Ninfriendo. Very kind of you. Ooh, Baldur's Gate. Probably not the best choice for demonstration purposes. Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance. Lots and lots of logos. English, please. I can read that. Also, talk it good. Okay, it looks like even if I speed through this, it'll take too long. Beyond character creation, it'll probably have a big introduction plot and a tutorial chapter. All fine and good for actually playing the game, but not for demonstrating a game device. Instead, for an intermission of sorts, let's take a quick peek at a game that isn't on this device at all, but is very popular right now, The Last of Us Part 2. During that, I'll figure out what I'm doing, and this can move forward. The Last of Us Part 2 is very scary, so don't get scared. Be right back.
Hey, leave the chicken alone.
Scary stuff. Zombie chickens. I can see why that game is so popular. Just to show everyone, I guess, the Revo K101 Plus does indeed play Game Boy Advance cartridges. This one is mildly interesting. It's a bootleg cartridge containing a fan translation of a Japanese game. It has 2 games on it, actually. The first is a classic 8-bit, but it's been modded. Playing a bootleg inside a bootleg. Take that, Nintendo! I am personally destroying you. And now, after all of your business expenses are paid, your profit margin falls into the measly billions per year. Seriously, people, bootlegging causes no harm whatsoever, and the campaign against it is a lie. Take that, Nintendo. You and your logos everywhere.
The first Olympic torch, ladies and gentlemen.
But I buy Nintendo stuff too. I don't just steal it. Of course, Everything I buy is secondary market, so I guess I don't exactly feed that corporate machine either. Anyhow, the cartridge works just fine. All of them do. I've heard good things about this game, and I look forward to playing it. One more quick thing to show before I demonstrate the audio-video out. Something all Nintendo portables intentionally lack. It is... if the game ROM contains a custom background, the Revo K101 actually detects it and uses it. I'll demonstrate with this Bomberman Quest. In Middle-earth, his name is Bomberman. If you got that bad joke, you're a nerd too. Viola, or as the French say, Buongiorno. Through the vastness of space flies the bomber shuttle. A space bomber sounds like a scene from one of those abysmal new Star Wars movies. Thank you for watching. I post every Thursday and usually more often than that. One day I hope to achieve my initial YouTube goal of 100 subscribers without the use of any social media other than YouTube itself. Help me out by subscribing and sharing my videos. The short ones might get looked at, you never know. Please click like if you enjoyed this. All the best to you and yours, and may your current endeavor be fruitful.